Narcissus and Reese and Melchizedek, and I'd like to into that loving heart, that fifth dimensional 0 point. We recognize that every single experience we've had, every single lesson was chosen by us as the soul. We are the soul. To awaken, to remember, to know truly all is love. That all is love. That we are loved. That you are loved. That we are loved and celebrated and appreciated. Alright, so I'm going to very briefly move into ray 6, which is the ray of devotion and idealism, and that is a beautiful indigo flame of light, and that really is also an interesting story that comes to mind to share. So that is the ray of devotion. That is where we feel then that deep sense of being an initiate. That is where we have the remembrance, or that is even when we go on our spiritual pilgrimage. So we are waking up and we're experiencing a lot of things, and if we might be traveling to different places, countries, or even just doing different workshops or different teachings, because all of it is just a remembrance. It's like what's resonating with us, what's not resonating with us. And what's interesting there is that for many, many people, no matter spiritual or even religious people, one of the first energies and frequencies we tap into there is Jesus the Christ. So that is the inner Christ starting to activate. But for some, then they perceive or recognizing Jesus as God, rather than recognizing it's like part of that energy that we're integrating within ourselves into our own inner Christ. And then we will find timelines to be integrated for a while and allow that flow, which is also activating, and the purity and innocence within, because that's our soul light. So our soul light is our Christ light. But it's also the timelines that we've been in the shifts of light. And then also timelines that will come up there, timelines of being of the Buddha, of deep reverence for the Buddha, of maybe even going into the Buddhist teachings a little bit, or the Zen teachings, or then into, whether it's the Native American or into a lot of the beautiful Indian teachings, which are all, that's really what our spiritual work is, isn't it? Whether it's yoga, meditation, a lot of that comes from the masters of the East. Because it's all a remembrance, it's all a journey to awaken the knowing that we are Buddha, that we are Christ, that we are Mother Mary, that we are Mary Magdalene. It's all one. That is, we are one with all. And all those memories are held within us too. When we act like it, we become it. So we feel then, as we're creating our dreaming our reality into being, a huge part of that is the feeling that's connected to it. The feeling of appreciation, the feeling of joy, the feeling of gratitude, no matter what is been going on. And also that's an interesting moment in time, because it shifts us too deep into that seventh ray of transformation. And we know that beautiful violet flame. But that beautiful violet flame not only dismantles a lot of the old earth energies, frequencies, templates, financial, economic, and of course, just a dismantling of the old generally, but also essentially what that ray does is it takes us into the releasing of all that we've got, the releasing of everything old within our lives. And that's often relationships and people and jobs and places and spaces and who we were or who we assumed we were. We go through so many shifts in identity, different aspects of our own consciousness that come online, where we're no longer even the light worker, or we're no longer even whatever our profession is, or our job is, or the teacher, or the whatever, it doesn't really matter what we do from our day-to-day financial security perspective. We have to release everything and we have to release the perceived sense of this is who I am. I sat for a very long time to say, who am I? Who am I? And I realized I was no one and nothing. But I had to get to that point of recognizing that I am nothing before I recognized I was everything. So that is part of our journey where we dismantle the old and we release the old. And of course, as we not only shifting our consciousness, we and accumulating knowledge and wisdom, we're working too with the deepening sense of the ray energies and frequencies, and whether it's this or whether it's on the galactic level, whether it's timelines, Atlantis, Lemuria, ancient Egypt, it's all happening simultaneously in this now moment. It's just one moment, or I mean, it's all moments in one. So it's really quite a beautiful time, and it's also a time of huge change because that's taking us into the equinox energy, and that equinox energy is, of course, it's a balance, isn't it? Day and night, so equal sun, equal night, equal light, and it's essentially also where we experience just new levels of the plasma light ray frequencies that escalate into new levels of service. For us, this year is really where we are ascending on mass. This year is really when we are deepening into just holding our frequency and energy and working in ways of consciousness that come from the wisdom within, where we don't need to just sit down and have it for half an hour, that alignment in listening to that meditation or receiving that channeling. It's like 24/7. We're working all the time with the light within, which reflects then to that light without. So we program it through the feelings, and each of these rays bring through particular feelings. Most of these feelings are for us to just hold those qualities of gratitude and joy and love and compassion and understanding and expressions thereof in every form of love. But also within that, we are processing and releasing, dismantling, healing, forgiving, everything 3D40, or simply moving through the unity grids and holding those flames and ray frequencies as it dissolves within and without all that is no longer necessary or of the light. So it's recognizing we are the stargates of divine love. We are the vibrating portals, and we are here in creating and affecting that change, in creating new earth, which is a state of consciousness but a physical place as well. It's not like anything disappears. It's just we shift consciousness and everything too shifts around us. We'll see that even the color of the sky will change, that the clouds will change, there will be more rainbows. We'll start to connect and feel into nature, nature's spirit, intelligence in a completely different way. We will hear even the frequency and energy of plants and the animals and the insects. I have such an interesting time at the moment in connecting with the insects in my gardens. I think it's just a really interesting moment in time with a lot going on where we are just expanding into that quantum field where we communicate with everything. And that is a primary focus of our communication, is telepathic. And I know that, I will think of someone and they will call us or send us an email or bump into them or something. But essentially, quantum conversations is really telepathically communicated, where our consciousness just connect into all those different people that we're thinking or feeling about, and we're having a conversation with them. And we're also doing a lot of the inner plane work, and we're doing a lot of either teaching ourselves, or we're being taught, or we're holding a light for the sacred earth in different ray ashrams, maybe crystalline cities, or maybe we're getting our own healings or working with our own parts. But there's always a lot of work going on the inner planes. But and when we deep asleep, that's when really the soul, the photonic light, starts to program a lot from within to allow for the crystalline consciousness to activate in the body, to allow for the light bodies to be created on the earth. But it does start where we are feeding our body light, where everything within our lives is resonating to that light frequency and energy, where we are watching what we're eating, we're watching what we're listening to, we're aware of how we're communicating and expressing ourselves, and what we're putting out there, because it's just amplified. And so we create from within not only with the feeling realm, but also with the vision through the third eye, through the inner mind, through the neural pathways of the neural templates that have been created or are being created as we envisage it. So essentially then the Akashic records are dissolving, where we are then creating from this now point where there is no past and the future still being created. So think about that. Alright, good. So I'm going to take us into a little bit of a transmission, and then I see that there are some people that would like some readings. I'm just hoping the internet holds out, and I do apologize for it being a bit funky today. Probably with all these energies too, it's just really, you can feel it building up between the full moon and then of course entering into the equinox and gateway. We're really feeling as new levels of balance coming through. So even if us in ourselves, if we still working with a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out, we just don't have much to say about it, because that's what's going on at a planetary level, and that's what we've chosen. So we might be in for a little bit of a ride as we rebalance, and then that is also a great frequency that's connected very much to that fifth ray of cosmic knowledge. So just to be aware then of the colors that are coming for you. I didn't talk much about the qualities of the higher ray frequencies, the 5 higher ray frequencies, and I didn't talk much about the cosmic rays. And we'll get into that too, because there's really so much that's going on so many different levels. It is quite difficult to, sort of bring everything together cohesively. And also, when I first start, I'm also just a bit jumpy myself with trying to sort out all the tech. And it takes me a few minutes to settle myself and settle, of course, cohesively to bring them together. But it's just really an incredible moment in time for all of us right now. We're just going through so much transformation and so much change. And it's so easy when we can get it. It's just that the human or the unconscious aspects of ourselves, or I call it the wounded aspects of ourselves too, it will not surrender. It's just a survival, it's pain, it's hardship. And we may be still working with that, all the time we see that reflection out there, but it's really just coming in and being okay to sit with it, and just allowing deeper levels of trust and surrender, because truly all we're going to do is trust. We don't need to get to our hands and knees and pray to God and say, just let my life be different. But sometimes we do, because that is how we learn best. But now the energy is soft, now the energy is gentle. If we step into it, if we receive it, if we open our hearts to the knowing that we are loved, to the knowing that we are loved. And so we're going to start there by just taking a few minutes of just breathing deep into the body, because it's just such a beautiful energy and frequency to, just acknowledge ourselves first and then acknowledge others. Just start with the breathing, and if you'd like, you're welcome to put your hands energetically or physically upon your chest, thigh center, and just take a deep breath into the body. Just breathing in love, breathing out love. Just say to yourself, I love you. Just bring your full name now. I love you. I love you. Just feel into your loving hand. Just know how much you appreciate and love. Just start to feel this deep sense of gratitude for yourself. before we move this out anywhere, it's just coming into the awareness of the knowing of ourselves as these sacred transfiguring flames of divine love, and as these master beings of light. So just bringing our awareness into the body, focusing simply upon the loving heart. Whatever may arise from within, whether you're visualizing the threefold flame, visualizing this beautiful golden sun with the light rays moving out from this, just acknowledge that you are just this absolutely beautiful, magnificent master being, light and God upon the sacred earth. Just breathing deep into the body, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose and mouth. I love you. I love you. Just visualizing now initially just this beautiful diamond golden and white flame. Well, that's a flame of cosmic Christ consciousness. Activate within the loving heart. And now moving through each one of the chakras to the subatomic particles of the body. Starting to spin the subatomic particles within each cell. Frequency aligned to a beautiful soul light and expression of self. You just have a sense to this beautiful flame moving into each body part, organ, through the blood, into the muscles, into the bones. As the subatomic particles start to spin in this increased light frequency, you have a sense too of what's been coming up for you and how you've been feeling this past week. How you've been feeling. In terms of your emotions, in terms of what's been reflected from within and what's been reflected from without. There have been moments of anger or grief or anxiety. Just observing, that's all we're doing now, we're simply observing because we're going to start to bring in all of the frequencies and energies that are within us and around us. As we start by just breathing and starting to go deep, we move through the levels. So that first level is always at what's been going on within our day, where are we, and we just allow that to surface. And then we perceive throughout the day where we reacted or where we could have done things differently, or where we felt shame or anger or resentment, or where we judged or where we blamed. So we observe that by the recognition that we are the soul, and that these are the soul light is loving these aspects. These are the aspects that we're bringing into the loving heart, the unconscious aspects of ourselves. And it's okay to simply love. And as we do this, we get a sense too of this beautiful blue, pink, and golden yellow flame. This is a threefold flame. It's igniting from within, and it ignites within this beautiful golden sun that has around it all these light ray frequencies and qualities. And this threefold flame just starts to burn brighter and brighter. And as this flame starts to come from the heart, coming up, it starts to ignite into the stargate of the loving heart. As this is igniting into the stargate of the loving heart, and these embers become this